Inside the Drag Closet with Jade. Join Jade DeVere and her fabulous team of guests as they discuss all things drag, from wigs to makeup to performances and everything in between.
Join us at WLFE-DV.com for upcoming shows and more.
Well, hello there, kids. Welcome to Inside the Drag Closet, the show where we talk about all things drag and some things that aren't. Who knows? We're really just here to have a good time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This has been a whole lot of fun. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. But I've got 3 questions that I have to answer first, and they are who, what, where. First is, who am I? My name is Jade DeVere. I am a drag queen located in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. What am I wearing? I'm wearing a cute little cocktail dress. I had a different outfit picked out, but I didn't like how it looked. It really went with my backdrop, and I'm still in these colors. Yay! And I'm wearing some fantastic hair from Webster Wigs. They are one of my favorite wig sites. I'm wearing some of my beautiful Rock Spy Cocks. And it's very weird because I'm on a green screen. This is actually a bright yellow set, but for some reason it's orange, which is fine because I love orange. I love all things citrusy. And last but not least, where can you find me? Well, you can find me right now on Inside the Drag Closet every Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also have my YouTube show, which is Just Ask Jade, the show where you can ask a drag queen anything. I wanted to thank you once again for tuning in. Like I said, we're having a fantastic time doing this show, but I want to make this show even better, and I need your help. If there's anything you would like to see on the show, feel free to send me an email. You can email me directly at insidethedragcloset@gmail.com. If there's anything you want to see, any performers who would love to be on the show, I would love to hear from you. I have a fantastic month of shows already lined up, and it's just getting better. Or if you have any questions for me that you don't want to say in the chat, you can always email me privately. Now, this week, we're going to have a fantastic show all the way from the Windy City. We have Miss Lola Madison joining us. And from New York City, the vegan drag queen herself, Miss Honey LaBronx, will be here. But I can't do all this work by myself, so I would like to introduce to you my fabulous co-host for the evening. Her name is Skarlet Overkill. Hey, girl.
Hello, everyone. How are we doing tonight?
Now, we were just catching up a little bit before the show started, and I just have to compliment that hair.
Yes, thank you. Just a little, I don't know what the name is, just a little wig off of Amazon, though. I don't know the brand. Something I whipped up before the show.
Oh, it looks fantastic. And I like that you match our Inside the Drag Closet background right now.
Yes.
If I were to do that.
Yes.
That's it. One night when we're all together, we all need to do that aquamarine glittery look.
Yes.
That'd be cute. Now, Skarlet, what's new in your neck of the woods this week?
Not too much actually. Just kind of, still hanging out at home, unfortunately. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, but taking in the nice weather. It's been, you tell summer's here, it's been super warm. So been hanging out outside, tanning, going for walks, trying to, just get out of the house and have some fun, even though things are closed.
Yeah, have a little semblance of what was normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. We've already got some comments, which is fantastic. Come through, Heat Miser Overkill.
Yes. It is very that. It has like the orange and the like yellow, and then it like fades into pink, and it's all neon colors. It's very me.
It is very you. I love it. If anybody else has anything to ask us, you can always type away right there in the chat. The way StreamYard works, I will be able to get to your messages. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Also, don't forget to follow the WLFD-DB Radio Network. That is our fantastic network that we are on. You can see a lot of fabulous shows there, like Talk with Teddy, Paratalk Radio. There's a lot going on all the time. If you're a fan of the paranormal, definitely check out WLFE. You're not going to be disappointed. Now, behind every drag performer, there is always that gaggle of girls who are our number one supporters. We love them.
Yes.
We went to prom with them.
Yeah.
And so we are going to have our Woo Girl of the Week. And this week, our Woo Girl is Miss Jen Bazzle.
Hi.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Now, before we get into it, I do have to ask my 3 questions. I knew I was going to mess this up. So I'm going to start with Skarlet. Who, what, where? Who are you? What are you wearing? And where can we find you?
Well, who am I? I am the clown of Harrisburg, obvious reasons. And what am I wearing? Well, like I said earlier, my wig is from Amazon. I'm not sure the designer who created it, but it's Amazon, and then I styled it. The dress, I think, is Fashion Nova. Not sure. Don't quote me on that. Makeup's Jeffree Star Cosmetics. And then where can you find me? Well, right now you can find me online, my backyard, and inside my house because everything's closed. But normally, if life was some kind of normal, you could find me pretty much all over Pennsylvania, out of state, pretty much where anybody wants this big, colorful thing in their show.
Love it.
She is a party.
Yeah.
Now, I like that you mentioned Jeffree Star because that's one thing I didn't answer earlier. I had a breakthrough tonight. I've been struggling with something for quite some time. I finally figured out my blue blood or my bloodlust palette.
Yes.
My eyes with bloodlust tonight, and
I like.
Yeah, I've been struggling with this palette. I'll be very honest because I go so crazy colors, and they're very soft, and I don't do soft very well. But tonight I did it, and I'm excited to do more with it.
Yeah.
Which palette did you use?
I did. So above my eyes is the pink and the purple colors from his collab with Morphe, the
Nice.
artistry palette, and then underneath I have orange and red from the Conspiracy palette.
Excellent.
So
And Miss Jen, you were using Jeffree Star tonight as well.
I am. I'm actually all the eyeshadow. It's very hard to see because glasses give a glare, but all of this eyeshadow is actually from the Thirsty palette. And this is Huntington Beach, given to me by the wonderful Skarlet Overkill. And I love this look, this color. It's I just randomly tried it on at her house one day, and I knew I had it, and she got an extra one and asked me if I wanted it, and I immediately said yes.
And you already got some comments too, like, come through, snaky lipstick, Jen.
I do see that.
That's from one of our fabulous co-hosts, Miss Anastasia Diamond.
Love her.
And I love this next comment. That is my daughter.
Oh,
I love my mama.
yes. I love
That's
her.
incredible.
I remember when I met her at brunch, wasn't it?
No,
When
Pride.
I met her.
I
Pride.
met her at Pride.
That's right.
She loves you.
So sweet.
That's incredible. And of course, Fashion Nova, sis has my money, hashtag Cardi B.
Coronavirus.
I don't know what's going on anymore. I've already lost control. Now, Miss Jen, who, what, where? Who are you? What are you wearing? And where can we find you?
So, Jen Bazzle. I am originally from Ohio, as Jade had mentioned from my bio. Moved here in 2006, probably when I was maybe, I think 11. 25 now, I'm a baby. And I am wearing, as I said, Jeffree Star. This is actually a crop top that I got out of a Stitch Fix box. If you have not heard of Stitch Fix, it is a monthly clothing subscription, and it is amazing. I get so many cute clothes, and I love it.
I've heard so many people say so many good things about Stitch Fix. I've never used them myself.
I love them.
I alter my own stuff, but
Mhm.
you've had good luck with them?
Oh, I've had great luck. It's been a lot of shirts. I've gotten maybe 2 pairs of pants and maybe a pair of shorts. Amazing. They fit very well.
Awesome.
And then, of course, you can just find me on like Facebook, Instagram. My Instagram is xGalaxyMermaidX because I'm quite known as a Galaxy Mermaid because of my hair.
Instagram. Let me see who said it is. X Galaxy
Mermaid
Mermaid.
X.
Just like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. Technology is tough. Like that.
Oh, there it is.
I did a technology. I don't think that's what I meant to say. There we go. So it's been storming here all day, so my connection has been in and out, but don't worry. Skarlet's ready to jump in whenever
Yes.
things get weird.
Sounds good.
Now, Skarlet, later on, you're going to be doing your own segment. So what are you going to talk about tonight?
Okay, so I've decided for my segment because I definitely like to wear makeup that's very how can I say it, breaks the rules. You know, if there's that neon green lipstick or that lipstick that looks like baby poop, you know, something weird that no one would wear, definitely can find me wearing it. So, and then obviously something I want to discuss later as part of my segment and with our guests that we have tonight, being vegan and cruelty-free, it's a little harder to find makeup sometimes because I have to read labels and research the brand and so on and so forth. So my segment's going to be makeup-based from, you know, maybe hot trends right now to weird makeup to little secrets and tips, you know, just a little bit of all of it.
Excellent. That
Yeah.
sounds fantastic. Now, I have to thank Skarlet because she actually found our incredible guests this evening. And, you know, without her hard work, I don't know that I could be doing this show right now. If it sounds like I'm stalling for time, it's because one of our guests has not come back into the stream yet.
Oh, no.
So I'm killing time. So, Jen, what is one thing you've always wanted to ask a drag queen, but you've never just kind of grabbed the bull by the horns and done it?
So I guess the whole like, how uncomfortable does the tuck get?
I don't get uncomfortable. Like at first I would get really uncomfortable. I'd always be, you know, look at me, I'm shifting my weight because I'm cute, but really I'm just in pain. Now, like, I feel like my body senses my pads coming and it's just like, and it's done. It's magic.
I love that.
I think for me too, like it depends on I guess it depends on what I'm doing, what I'm performing. Like I know if I'm gonna be wearing a lot of long, like maybe dresses, gowns, my tuck's not really on point because you're not really gonna see it unless I'm in, you know, maybe like a bodysuit, bathing, something like that or whatever. But then again, I mean, anyone who knows me knows my ass is flatter than a pancake. So I pad a lot and overcompensate. So with all that padding and tights and stuff, if my tuck's not 100, I mean, you still really can't see it.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. I've always thought that how that was interesting, and I was just always curious how comfortable it could be.
For me, the part that's worse is the padding, which I'm gonna get. Like a lot of people don't realize that when we're in drag, this outfit was meant for me to sit and not move. This is my entire hip and butt area.
Oh my goodness.
It is all green foam.
Yeah.
It's a big pad.
You know, and it's funny because Skarlet, I've been to your place and I don't really ever see your pads. Do you have them hidden?
Well, no, I started investing in the Planet Pepper, New York City. Shout out, Astro Booty. They're like, so basically what they are is they're a pair of like, they go to about your knees and they're nude like shorts. And then she puts pads in and then like sews the pads into the shorts.
Okay.
And puts a little zipper on there so then you're able to like take the pads out, wash them and the shorts. and stuff. But it's easier that way because for me, you know, when I first started doing drag, Jeremy was usually always along with me. So I was like, hey, does this pad look right? Are they equally shaped? And now sometimes I'm doing shows where I'm by myself and I don't have a dresser. So it's easier to just pull up a pair of shorts that already have padding in it and put tights over top and you're done.
Okay.
It's a good investment.
Yeah.
I've seen those before, and you know, if they were in my budget at the time, I totally would have gotten them. But then I started making my own pads, so I kind of became a little more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
I still want to get them because there are days where, girl, I just don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. It makes the process of like putting your body on and getting into drag so much quicker because again, you're just putting on a pair of shorts and that's it. You're not like shifting pads around and making sure they're like equally placed. So
exactly. I remember years ago, I was chatting with my sister River at the time, my drag sister, and she had never padded up until that point. Oh, there it is. My jewelry disappeared. Someone stole my jewelry. And she had never padded up till that point. She just used her natural body. And after chatting for a little bit, I was like, girl, let's go shopping. We'll buy some foam and I'll make you some pads.
Yeah.
She put them on and she was like, oh my. She was feeling herself that night and she looked stunning.
It's a big change to like put the pads on and then, you know, someone like me, I mean, everyone's different, I understand. You know, but like, you know, everyone, you start somewhere. My first time in drag, I didn't wear any pads, nothing, no boobs even. I'm like, oh, I'm a real woman, you know, because it's just kind of what you do. But like over the years, like I've been like making, I mean, and again, this is just me personally and like my type of drag, like making my butt bigger and then like putting like cinchers and stuff on my waist to make my waist thinner to really get that hour. Yeah. So some people just wear pads and no cinchers. Some people cinch and like they're padding small. I mean, again, everyone's different. But I've noticed like just like really taking in my waist and like making my ass bigger. It really gives that like womanly figure. And then you put it all on, and you're like, you're the whole time too. You're bitching. You're like, all these fucking layers and stuff. But then once it's on and you're in the mirror, you're like, oh, who is that woman?
Oh. There she is. Oh, yes.
Yeah. And see, that's one of the things like I love watching Drag Race for is because the difference between everyone is just amazing. You can see how different people like how it's different for certain people and how they get ready and what they do with their makeup, their hair, their clothes, their padding. And I love learning that. And that's why I love being friends with you guys because I'm learning new tricks even for makeup. And I love that.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I was recording some episodes for my YouTube series, Just Ask Jade, earlier. And one of the questions I got was, do I think it's fair for queens like Gigi Good to, you know, not do boobs, not do pads? And I'll be very honest. At first, I was just like, come on, put in the work. But now I look at those queens and I'm like, no, that really works. It's artistic expression.
Yeah.
And I really love it.
Well, and again, something with like, since you brought her name up, so I'll just use her example, but even the rest of, and maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't want to like stereotype like the skinny queens, but like some of the queens who are like, you know, thinner and like going for that whole model-esque look. If you really think about like fashion and runway and models, a lot of them are so thin that it doesn't really look like they have, you know, any boobs or the wording's not the greatest, but like fashion in general is usually like being skinny and tiny and not much of anything. So I mean,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so you know, if that's your aesthetic, going for like a very fashion runway model, you know, you can get away without wearing boobs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, it took me a little while to adapt to that, but you know, I grow and I learn, and I learn to appreciate new things. And I think that's, you know, what we all should be doing. We do have some fun comments. No one told me you can barely move in a breastplate. Now, for anyone who does not know what a breastplate is, it's literally a bib of boobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a bib with some knockers on it. And you put a big, nice, chunky necklace there. You can't even tell that it's not your actual body.
They are
I've
pretty
only
cool.
worn one once, and it was because I was screwing around backstage. What are some of these other comments? Jade is so fruity. Thank you for noticing.
God.
That's our sister Fancy Dismount. How do you pee while in drag with the layers?
You don't.
Nope. I have done shows where, like Pride, for example, Pride is all day. And there's that time during Pride where you're just like, I gotta pee. I really have to pee. And it is this gymnastics routine over, you can't do it at a urinal. You have to do it at a toilet where you're just like, it's graphic. Just, that's the real show.
Yeah.
Watching a drag queen try to pee at Pride. What else? Oh, we have Mr. Teddy saying hello all.
Hi, Ted.
Now you can catch Teddy on WLFE-DB radio with his fabulous show Talk with Teddy. He is on all the time. His show is incredible, and that's actually how we got this show. So send him some love.
Yay.
Let's see, what other questions have we got? How do you hold it that's long? That sounds like two different sentences.
Maybe how do you hold it that long?
Possibly.
Maybe.
That's our lovely friend Monica. She's actually going to be one of our Woo Girls of the Week soon.
Yay.
I forget which episode. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I know she's on sometime soon. How do you hold it that long? Like, kudos to queens who can drink at shows. I'm not one of them. Like, oh, she corrected it.
Hold that.
StreamYard can't fix it. So, yeah, like kudos to those queens who get through the show drinking the whole time. No, that's not for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll have like a drink, like maybe like before the show starts, I'll have a drink, and then I'll drink one, but it like lasts the whole show. So usually I have like 2, maybe 3 if I'm lucky, but it's usually just 2 drinks the whole show. And I mean, that's not a lot. I can hold 2 drinks. But like some of these queens, like, I know, we've seen some, they're backstage like left and right hammering drinks that I'm like, girl, how are you going to pee?
Like,
I
used to work with a girl. I'm not going to out her on this show, but her story was funny. She would always say, I pee a little. So what? And I'm like, excuse me? You what? I pee a little. Sometimes.
Love that.
Anastasia is an instigator, by the way. Say name, sis. No, not going to.
I love Anastasia.
Right? She's ridiculous.
trying to stir the pot.
Miss Anastasia will be my co-host next week. We have a very exciting episode planned. We're going to have the team from Looks, LEWKS.
Yeah.
Now, if you have never followed Looks on Facebook, they do drag jewelry auctions. I was actually watching one of their auctions the other night, and their stuff is beautiful. I was very captivated because they did a jewelry set. It had a nice teardrop at the top and a teardrop at the bottom, and it was this beautiful, she said the name of the stone color, but it was like this nice soft baby pink, but it was magnetic. So you could wear it one way, or you could flip it upside down and wear it the other way.
Ooh.
And,
That's
yeah.
very interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it was very cleverly done. Oh, seriously? Jade, is it lickable wallpaper, and do the snozberries taste like snozberries? Yes. That's the answer to that question. Well, kids, I think it's time we chat with one of our fabulous guests for this evening.
Yeah.
So I am going to bring into the chat the beautiful Miss Honey LaBronx.
Yay.
Oh my God! Hi, hello. Am I here? Hi.
How are you?
I'm. My back hurts a little bit, and then the thing was still happening with my. Oh, I mean, in general, I'm good. I'm great. I do that whenever I go to a drag show, and the queen on stage is like, "How are you all feeling?" Everyone's just like, "Woo!" And I'm like, my back hurts a little bit. And then oh my God.
I do the same. Anytime someone's like, next up to the stage, no, thank you. And
We were saying earlier, you were saying something about doing whatever the audience wants or asking what the audience wants. I once was hosting something, and all I had to do was say, "You guys have been great. Thank you. Good night." Like it had been like 3 hours of hosting. I made the mistake of saying, "Who wants to hear another number?" This one lady in the front row just said, "I'm good." You can't pretend that didn't happen. All you can really do is just say, "Hit it," and then just do a number anyway. So I've learned to stop asking the audience what they want.
Yeah.
Rather, I'm going to tell the audience what they're going to get.
Yeah.
Now, I do have 3 questions for you.
Yes.
Who, what, and where? Who are you? What are you wearing? And where can we find you?
Who am I? So, you know what? Honestly, I've been asking myself that a lot lately. And the best answer I can come up with, sorry, I'm like adjusting my lighting and everything. I am Honey LaBronx, aka the Vegan Drag Queen, and you can find me at vegandragqueen.com. I also have you can also find my podcast, Big Fat Vegan Radio, anywhere podcasts are found. And basically, I tour with my show as a fundraiser for, that's it, Vegan Drag Queen. I tour with my show as a fundraiser for local LGBTQ and animal rights organizations, which, of course, I'm not really doing now because we're grounded, but I am looking to start doing live stream shows like this. So if you have an organization you want me to raise money for, reach out and let me know, and let's team up.
Yes.
Excellent. That is fantastic. I have to say, I've been doing my homework, and I was on your website earlier. I'm just blown away. You have raised $44,041 for different charities.
Yes.
And
I've done 111 shows in 73 cities, 5 countries, benefiting 148 organizations. I love statistics so much, I became one.
That's incredible. Like a lot of people, like a lot of drag starts with fundraising, and I love that you've really grabbed the bull by the horns with that, and it blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I love what I do. You know, when I get out of bed in the morning and put my feet on the cold floor, I know that I am doing it to do what I love and in service of the difference that I want to make in the world. So there's been a lot of moments over the last few years where I'm just like, pinch me, this must be a dream. Like, this is my life that I get to live, and I'm very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
Excellent. We're fortunate to have you here.
Yeah.
I know.
We were oh, so much fun. Now, you also, I love that all of your social media involves you being vegan. Now,
yes.
How did you start along the path to being vegan?
You know, it's funny you should ask, because you'd mentioned something about this network has a real paranormal following. My like, if you will, spiritual mentor, his name is John Oliver, and before the John Oliver from The Daily Show. So there was a guy, he used to be known as the teenage psychic back when he was young. And he had a show on Court TV before it became True TV called Haunting Evidence. So if any of you paranormal people know that show, Haunting Evidence, basically it's like unsolved mysteries, but they bring in like a paranormal investigator, a psychic medium, and like a psychic profiler to find out, like, so they brought my friend in to find out what happened with Zodiac Killer, with JonBenet Ramsey, Natalie Holloway. And it's like, this is my friend who got me into meditation, got me to move to New York in the first place. So every time I meet with him, it's very much like the student is ready and the teacher will have another lesson. And then one day the lesson became about veganism, and I was like, we have reached an impasse. That I cannot do. And I really do not like the idea of anything being impossible. I've always said, if you tell a drag queen something's impossible, you've basically just paved the way for her. And as soon as I said I could never go vegan, I was like, says who? What is this I can't do? I can do go vegan. And I've been vegan for 10 years now. Mostly just to piss people off.
Yes.
Well, that's something you and Skarlet both have in common, because Skarlet
We sure do. I'm trying to look up at her in a Brady Bunch. Hi.
Hey, down there.
StreamYard is tough. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Every once in a while, I'm like, I want to talk to Skarlet. Nope, over there.
And yet I've taken, like, I went to puppetry school, so I've like learned the whole like camp whatever.
Oh yeah, it just goes right out the window.
It really does.
Now, it states right here, and something I wanted to talk about. You are the drag daughter of the famous Bob the Drag Queen.
I am the very one.
And
I hope you guys are watching her right now on HBO. Have you seen their show We're Here?
Love it.
I've seen it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh,
That show is 41 years late getting on the air. Like, I ugly cry when I watch that show.
I wish that show was around when I was starting to do drag, when I was just a little drag baby, because I would have loved something like that.
Now, how long have you been doing drag?
I've been in drag for... My answer is tricky, because I started off doing dinner theater, and I was cast as a female vampire who wasn't actually a female vampire.
Were you in Vampire Lesbians of Sodom?
No, but I love Charles Busch.
Okay. Same.
Actually, my story kind of along that vein, I was playing that character for a couple years, and then I was put in The Lady in Question by Charles Busch. And I played Lottie von Elsner. I was a 12-year-old little Nazi. It's a neat show. They're cute when they're little, aren't they? Exactly. I was 32 and I was playing a 12-year-old. I'm old.
You look amazing. I feel like we're supposed to say it or something. You look
thank you. I was waiting. But yeah, and then there was a drag competition here in Harrisburg, and I offered to be the theater coach, and then I just got sucked into coaching, and I've been performing in drag ever since. Yeah. It's funny how people find drag. I actually, oh, and by the way, I have to say, I love Harrisburg. I can't bring myself to say Lancaster. It's Lancaster. Lancaster just sounds so ugly. Lancaster sounds the way the city smells. And I'm not trying to knock the city, but you'll notice Yankee Candle has never made a Lancaster, PA candle for a reason. It's one of those cities you have to really want to go there to get there, because the surrounding perimeter is like, you sure you want this now? You sure you want? Okay. But I always get laid in Harrisburg and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we have another guest tonight from Chicago, which is like the Berlin of the United States. So it's just like Honey LaBronx's sex life, all come home to roost. But yeah, I when I started doing drag, I met Bob on my first day in drag. I was doing this sort of like this charity drag pageant thing. I was not one of the contestants. I was just there to help sell tickets, work the crowd. And my friend Alex Michaels, who had not yet been on Drag Race, but he went by the name Alexis Michelle, he painted me. He did me wrong. I was like, girl, you know how to paint. Where did these painting skills come from, and where were they when I needed your help? It was like, here's some blush, some glitter, some lipstick, go. And you couldn't tell me any. I was like, I'm a real woman. So I go backstage, and I see this guy getting his face on, and we start chatting, and
We became best friends. He had been doing drag maybe 4 months before, and that was my first day. And maybe about a year later, a little less than a year later, we became roommates. And then he asked if he could be my drag mom, and I was like, I will think about it. And so I was his first drag daughter. But back in the day, that was before we had YouTube tutorials. Maybe there was Petrolude, but like you had to just be willing to go out and look busted and get better over time, because we did not. And now you can sit in your room and a month later emerge as a fully formed queen.
Yeah, you can.
Not back in the day.
That's actually our wonderful co-host, Anastasia Diamond. That's really how she got her start. She was an Instagram queen. And just was doing mug and mug and mug. And then her college did a drag show, and she's like, if I want to do this, I better do this. And that's actually how we met.
It's crazy to think that like back, I mean, I've only been doing drag for 6 years, so I haven't even been doing it that long. But even still, when I started, I just showed up to the club with my lipstick and smoky eye and was like, oh, I am that bitch. Watch out. You know, it was very bad. And then I got a drag mother because it was like, oh, honey, you're not that bitch. And I had to learn and, you know, grow and just learn all the tricks and stuff. But it's like, I went from that, like learning from a drag family, and I kind of molded myself because the rest of my drag family's, you know, a little more fishy, if we can use that term loosely. So I kind of learned like this whole skill from like watching like makeup tutorials and just seeing like Drag Race and all that stuff. But it's crazy how like I think back in the day you learned makeup and you learned drag from a family. Now you can just sit in front of your computer, pull up YouTube, and you become a drag queen. Yeah. It's crazy how like technology and social media has changed drag.
Bob was saying that that's the great thing about drag is even clowns have college. Like you can go to University of Connecticut, UConn, they have a whole puppetry. There's like a puppetry major. You can go to college to be a puppeteer. You can go to college to be a clown. You can't go to college to be a drag queen. You have to learn from other drag queens. And I love what you spoke to about that feeling of showing up a little lipstick and a smoky eye, and you look busted, but you feel like, oh my God, I am a real woman just living my best life. Yeah. And I love that feeling, what drag brings out of people. And I must say, I moved to New York City in 2000, thinking I was going to pursue a career in musical theater, and I had never really ended up going after that. I became a photographer, and I mean, if you can tell from my setup here, but when I found drag, I had never been so confident in my own skin as a man. Like, I feel like I'd never really felt like I fit in with either gender until I created this character and I got to rock my femininity. And then I discovered, like, when I'm a guy, I just get to totally be masculine. And so drag helped me find the man that I am, allegedly, underneath all of this.
That's incredible.
Yeah, what I was going to say off of what you were just saying, honey, is that it does. And like you brought up earlier, you know, being Bob's daughter, the TV show We're Here, it's so heartwarming and amazing to see the confidence that drag gives people. You know, you don't think like, oh, I could never, like, you know, the whole spooky eye, like, oh, I'm that bitch. Like just walking out right away, having that confidence. Yeah. And there's just some people who are like, I can't do this because I don't have the confidence. And then as soon as they're in full head of drag and they see themselves, they're like, wow, like I can do this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And it's so adorable because my mom keeps messaging me and keeps talking to me, and she's like, I really just want to be dragified. Can you get one of your drag queens to just dragify me? And I'm like, I have plenty. I can talk to them and see what they say. And I'm like, the first couple people I thought of were actually you and Skarlet, Jade. So like, I was like, I feel like my mom would just work out so perfectly with you guys, and she would just have so much fun.
That sounds fun. We do have a couple comments and questions that I want to get to. Okay. One from Sean's story, honey, is a queen doing the most for the charities, the most with her makeup.
I have a restraining order against him, and he's not supposed to keep showing up. No, I'm just kidding. Hi, Sean. Sean is the husband of my best friend growing up, Michael Story. And I have to say, when people ask like where my drag character came from, if I'm ever doing anything that sounds clever or smart or funny or whatever, I am basically plagiarizing Mike's story, or doing an impression of my little sister in an argument, not trying to be funny, but God bless her, she can't help it.
That's awesome. This is a really cool one. Honey, have you ever thought about hosting a drag queen freegan tour in New York City and possibly live streaming it? It would be so fun to watch a queen do that.
Well, I don't know what a freegan tour is. But you know what? Speaking of that confidence drag gives you, like, how hard could it be? I will say yes to something without knowing what it is. In fact, I know how to operate for a cerebral aneurysm.
Really?
That's a thing I know how to do. I've never done one. I've walked through it several times with like a simulated computer video game. But if the four of us are ever in an elevator and someone has an aneurysm, I mean, you're going to die, but at least I'll have like an objective. Like, I'll know what we're looking for.
She's going to do the best she can.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
What else
I don't know what that freaking tour is, but I can tell that man I do have a Patreon.
Oh,
so
perfect.
If that helps, you can go to vegandragqueen.com and click on support and help me do a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was my husband who left that comment. So,
yep. Well, then you can get me that inside info later on.
Definitely. Our friend Monica Schatzer. There are so many alternatives now, though, like cashew cheese is amazing. Lots of Asian markets have soybean protein. Great to make the faux chicken texture. Great for nuggets.
Yeah. I actually have some recipes on my Patreon. And I think I have some recipes that are free, but like if you pledge like $2 a month or whatever, you have access to all my recipes. I don't know where it is because I wrote it down. I did not type it. Somewhere, I basically crossbred two different kinds of vegan meat. I'll just say it. I made seitan, but I made it by blending tofu into the liquid ingredients. So it's like a meat made with more meat. It's like the meatiest, chickeniest seitan, and I can't find the recipe now. Vegan store, I was collecting the food that is still good, but restaurants throw it away. Yeah, we have City Harvest, and I know that there are some organizations that do that. It's interesting. I wonder if that would be something that I would want to do in drag, but if it helps bring attention to the cause, I would love to. I will say, in Toronto this past summer, I did my first ever dumpster dive. I was staying with my friend Katrina. Shout out to Katrina in Toronto. And she, after one of my shows, we were driving home and she's like, I wanted to stop at the grocery store real quick. And I was like, they're closed. And she's like, uh-huh. And we drive around back and she's like, do you want to come out or do you want to come with me or you can stay in the car? And I'm like, I'm still in drag. I have a film crew with me because we were making like a documentary of the tour. And I'm like, oh, we're doing this. And so we got out and we filmed me and her doing a dumpster dive. If you've never done dumpster diving, it sounds like it would be gross. But imagine an entire dumpster only filled with red and yellow and orange peppers. Sure, don't touch the ones on top. But in the middle, those peppers are only touching other peppers. Like, they're just as clean as what you would get in the store. And oh my God, we must have got like $500 of produce. It was incredible.
Wow.
Fabulous. Yeah. Well,
you couldn't do that in New York City though, because we don't have dumpsters. For the most part, they put the garbage in bags out on the sidewalk. So it would just be, you wouldn't want a dumpster dive in New York City.
Yeah. One last comment that I like here from Karen Bazzle. Mama Bazzle needs to head to La La Land for work tomorrow. Love you all. Great seeing you, Skarlet, and love you, Jen.
Oh, good to see you.
And I was here.
Well, yeah, she didn't get me either. Well, Miss Honey,
Such a Karen,
we are
isn't she?
going to let
Typical
you
Karen.
relax. Right, Karen. We're gonna let you relax for a couple minutes. We are going to bring in our next guest, and then we're gonna bring you back, and we're all gonna answer more questions from the audience.
I'll be right here. I'll be right here. Backstage.
Alrighty, we'll see you next to you. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, this is fun. Well, next up, kids, we have another fantastic guest. She is coming to us all the way from Chicago. Let's welcome Miss Lola Madison.
Hi.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Fabulous. She's giving us some bearded drag tonight.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of beer, just a little bit.
Love it.
Now,
Love it.
it's
Thank you.
funny. Ted, who helped us put this show together, he got the challenge of doing drag, but he doesn't want to get rid of his facial hair. So, Ted, here you go.
Here you go. You can just paint it, shave it down, put some glitter on it if you like.
Yes.
You can do so much with it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, Miss Lola, I want to hear about the chop.
Oh, the chop. Yes. Well, I am the current reigning Miss Chop, and I continue to be the current reigning thanks to coronavirus. So that was last year. It was like a 10, 11-week challenge. And that before this, I was dating somebody. And long story short, he broke up with me because I was a drag queen. Dun, dun, dun. So I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to do this competition and we're going to, and I killed it. And I felt like it was a blessing in disguise. I did all the challenges to the best of my ability. And it really reignited my love for drag. And here we are.
Exactly. Like if anybody ever tells you to stop doing something you love, it's time to move on from them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, Miss Lola, I forgot to ask you 3 very important questions.
Oh.
Who, what, where? Who are you? What are you wearing? And where can we find you?
I am Lola Madison from Chicago, Illinois. I'm originally from the suburbs, Waukegan. So shout out to my Walktown people. You can find me at Lips Chicago, which is one of the new drag queen restaurants. It's the newest location in Chicago. And I'm also at The River, and that's where they held the chop. And you can also find me at the Olive Garden serving some breadsticks.
I love that. We
Yes.
Bearded Queen, you better work. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny. I keep talking about my other show, but I filmed today, so it's on my head. Someone asked me if there was ever a type of drag I would not do, and I had to say bearded drag is the only drag I wouldn't do because I can't grow facial hair.
Oh, but you can paint it on.
I could paint it on, I guess.
Yes.
You can
Literally,
glue it on too.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
I did a Ren Fair and I had to have a goatee for a year, and there was so much black eyeshadow in my facial hair.
Oh yeah.
It didn't work. I did the best I could. My facial hair grows in like blonde and red. Like,
interesting.
I get very light facial hair, even though I have very dark eyebrows, as you can tell.
So it's like 2 different colors.
Yeah.
I have to ask, do the curtains, how do they say it? Do the curtains match the car? I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say.
Carpet matches the drapes in color and quantity.
Oh!
Ow. I can't even take credit for that. That's a quote from Family Guy.
Family Guy, classic.
Love that show. Now, what did you have to do to compete for the chop?
Oh my gosh. We had to create something out of nothing. It couldn't be clothes, so I created a whole dress out of like newspaper and like plastic, and it was like one of my favorite looks. We had to do like a horror challenge. Oh my gosh, we had to do like duets. We had to do like an 8-minute production. Of course, I did Selena, represent, for the Latinos. Also, I'm a Latin queen, Mexican American. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
so what else did we had to do? Superhero theme. They were just so, oh my God, it was the most challenging thing. And you only had a week. And they told you the day of for the following week. So it's like some places you get a list of all of the challenges before you enter it. But this one was like, no, they told you have a week. And so we had a glow in the dark challenge. I created this huge, like, oh, it was awesome. Like I really busted my ass for this competition. And I was just so happy and proud to have accomplished and done that and really challenged myself. So yeah, there was just so many things you had to do. It was not easy, but definitely a great time and worth it. So
these competition shows are very popular and they're popping up all over the United States. I know of a bunch down in Philly, Chicago, you just said. Anywhere, if anybody wants to go out and see competition drag, you can. There's no excuse not to.
Yeah.
Now, what was I going to say? There we go. Alessandra says, it's not easy to make a beard. I mean, she's right.
I mean, let me shave it and I'll put it back on. No, I'm kidding. If you're a horrible drawer, then maybe it might be difficult. But, I mean, yeah, it could be. But that's the challenge. If you really want to do something, you can make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and our drag king brothers have been doing it for years. I've heard of drag kings who will get their hair cut, save their hair clippings, chop them up, and then glue them on their face.
No. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah. These boys put in the work, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do either of you kids have any questions?
Well, I was going to say to Lola, so Jade knows this. So we used to do, it's been a couple years since we had it, but here in Harrisburg at our local bar, Stein's, we used to do amateur drag race, it was called. So it was basically for like if you were a new queen, fresh doing drag, you didn't have any like titles, crowns there before, this competition was for you. So when I did it, I was in season 4 and I was only, I think, like 4 months into doing drag. I was like a baby queen. And so it was the same as what you were saying. Like, our competition was Sunday night. So we got like, for the following Sunday, we got, this is your challenge, this is what you need to do. And this is the lip sync song if you're in the bottom 2.
Oh, yes.
So you had to like create the look and the outfit and everything to go with the challenge. And then you also had to learn lip sync song in case you're in the bottom every week. So, ours only went, I think, when I was doing it, like, I think ours was 8 weeks. So it wasn't as long as yours, but still, like, when you're someone who's new to drag, 4 months into doing it, and you, like, basically don't know what the hell you're doing, and then you throw yourself into the gauntlet, and you're having to do this week after week, it gets stressful as shit.
Oh, I could imagine.
So my question is, how long were you doing drag before you started the chop?
I started doing drag when I was 21. I am now 37. But for me, drag was something I always did off and on. I officially moved to Chicago, I would say 2 years ago. So I would say last year's when I really was just like, you know what, I'm going to do this full time. I live here. There's no excuse because I used to travel 45 minutes to Chicago and back. Sometimes I would even like stay up late, wait for the train, the 5 a.m. train to go back home. So I was like, you know what, there's no excuse. And I finally just put all of the work that I have done throughout those years. And I was able to I did have drag prepared, the things that, they gave us a theme. I'm like, oh, I can use this or that. But then it came to a point halfway through where I had to start from scratch and I had to start spending money. So I did have a portion where I did have an advantage having, the experience from years prior. But then there was a point where I'm like, okay, I got to start all over from scratch. There's no excuses. Now it's really time to sew and really put in the 1,000,000% in. So, yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I mean, if you're like dedicated and you're passionate about it and you put in the work, you can go far. I mean, my season, there was 10 of us. And again, being brand new to drag, and I made the top 4. So
wow, that is amazing. That is amazing.
And I was shook because, like, I remember walking in there and there were queens, like, I mean, I'm not sure like everyone's names. I forget who all did my season, but there were some queens there that had been like 3 years into like doing drag already, and here I come, and I'm like, some of them I saw right away, and I remember being like, "Fuck, I'm going home first." Like I had to because I'm like, I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing, but like I realized that you learn so much from other queens, other performers, and I took that and used it to my advantage, and I just realized like, you know what? Who cares if I don't look as good as them or I haven't been doing this as long? I'm just as dedicated as they are.
Yes.
I'm going to put in the work, and I'm going to go. I mean, the one week we had celebrity impersonation, and I really took to that because most of the other girls, well, pretty much all the other queens I competed against were like, skinny white boys. So they're like Christina Aguilera lip sync, Britney Spears lip sync. I literally got my drag mother, who I gained from doing that competition because she wanted to take me under her wing, my husband, and my roommate. And all 4 of us got into drag, and I wrote a whole script, and we did a live, I don't know if you ever saw Chelsea Handler's show, Chelsea Lately.
Uh-huh.
And we did a whole comedy number on the stage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like wrote a script and everything. And so I won because I stood out from everybody else. I didn't just come out like looking like Britney Spears and doing lip sync. I did like a whole comedy.
Yeah, it really shows a lot when you give people production value. And I am always for the underdog because in 2014 I did Miss Roscoe's and I won Miss Roscoe's, but at that time my makeup was like finally peaking. But when I won, if you see those pictures of Miss Roscoe's 2014, honey, my makeup was gone. I sweated off. But I was up against one of the baddest bitches in Chicago. Like her looks, she had Eddie Couture do her costuming. Her makeup was on point, her hair, everything. But I think they saw that I gave them production values for both performances. Because honestly, it was just... two performances. It wasn't like a real pageant, but it was just give us 2 performance numbers and then we're gonna crown the winner. Michelle Visage was one of the judges. Courtney Act was one of the judges.
Wow.
And then the general manager. So it's like one of the biggest events in Chicago, and I was the underdog. And ever since then, I love going back. I love watching these girls, and because I've won the Chop, I was able to have a little bit of my own show. And I've seen so many times these girls, these underdogs, and I'm like, you know what? I invited them to the show and to my show, and they're just so grateful. And you just always have to remember where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I feel like I am seasoned and I still have some growing to do, but we always have to go back and support those underdogs. And I love stories like that because it just reminds me of like when I was a little baby queen, you know? So yeah, right on underdogs. So
yes,
I love that. And like an important thing is to never stop learning.
Yes. Amen.
Like we always have new skills to work on, some new stuff to better ourselves, especially in what's going on right now. Like,
yep.
We need to learn. We need to educate ourselves. We need to be better people.
Yes. Yes.
Couple questions or just statements. Are those contacts, Lola, gorgeous eyes?
Oh, no. These were given to me by my mother. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Let's see. What else do we have? Drag Race has had some of the most incredibly unique, memorable queens from Chicago. Trixie Mattel, Kimchi, Shea Coulee, etc. Have you ever auditioned for Drag Race?
I have auditioned for Drag Race quite a few times. I would say I did audition last year for the new one coming, and I would say it was probably the best video that I've done. But I'm ready for next year. If I decide to do it, I really will have a lot more to put into it. And I feel like it was my best work. It was just after the Chop. So I was like, oh my God, like I feel like I can do Drag Race because I just came out of this experience of doing a Drag Race like competition. So I was like, pick me, Rue. But yeah, I just got to be patient, and I want to keep auditioning. So wish me luck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what you have to.
Now, what we're going to do at this point in the show, we're going to take a little bit of a break. Miss Scarlet actually has some fantastic advice for all of you. And then all 5 of us are going to come back and you can ask us anything you want. So take it away, Miss Scarlet.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. So as I explained earlier, for those of you who might not have been on the stream yet, this is my segment that I do when I'm the co-host. And my segment's going to be basically pretty much just makeup based. I'm going to talk about maybe hot trends or certain makeup that I use. Maybe it might be a funky color. Someone might think it's a funky color or something. Or maybe just some tips and secrets and tricks. So tonight, what I'm going to talk about, something I want to bring up. We have Honey LaBronx on. She is the vegan drag queen. And I myself am also a vegan. So I'm going to talk about pretty much how being vegan affects the way I shop for makeup products. Now, it's not only just being vegan, it's also, for me, I live a cruelty-free lifestyle as well. So what that means is when I go shopping for, this isn't makeup either, it's anything. So it could be shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, my laundry detergent, anything. I make sure, if it's a company that I've never bought from before, someone new, it might be a cheaper product, so I want to save some money. I always make sure I research the company, I look at their frequently asked questions, and kind of just go and make sure that the company is cruelty-free. Now, what that means is they don't test any of their products or any of the products that they use to make their finished product on animals, any animals at all. They don't outsource from companies that test on animals either. So it was definitely a change. I went vegan first, and then I added the cruelty-free, on as I was learning how to be vegan and all that. Excuse me, sorry. So going back to vegan, the cruelty-free. So together, the way that they play together is now not only am I looking for, whether it be household products, food, etc. I'm not only looking for stuff that's not animal-based or has animal byproduct in it, but it's also not tested on animals. So going back to makeup, all my makeup that I use and buy is vegan and cruelty-free, and it's certified. I mean, most of my products I use are Jeffree Star Cosmetics, so his stuff is certified vegan and cruelty-free. But there are some products sometimes, I might need a good foundation or like the black eyeliner that I'm wearing, stuff that Jeffree Star doesn't make, so I have to go out and I have to look for. Now, one of the things that I'm going to bring up tonight, talking about how vegan and cruelty-free plays into makeup, is sometimes you have to watch if you're looking for a product and you want it to be both vegan and cruelty-free. It needs to say that. Now, because sometimes a brand may say that they're cruelty-free, so they don't test their products on animals, but they might not be vegan. So they have animal byproducts or, in the product, there's not tested on animals. And then it might be vice versa. They might not have any animal byproducts, so they might say that they're vegan, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're cruelty-free. They can still test their products on animals. So one of the biggest things to look for when you're looking for makeup, I'm going to talk about specifically red and pink lipsticks. Now, everyone loves red and pink lipstick, whether you're a woman, a drag queen, you just want to look fierce and sexy and feminine. Red and pink lipsticks are two of the biggest selling lipsticks out there. It's undeniable. So to make sure that that lipstick is vegan and cruelty-free, you need to look on the label and make sure it says both of them, because a big product that is used in red and pink lipsticks to activate the color, to make it that bright red or that vibrant pink, is something carmine, and those are from beetles. So basically what they do is they take a beetle and they will crush the beetle up and add it into the rest of the ingredients for the makeup products and mix it all together. And that crushed up beetle and that activation of the color will give it that bright red and that bright pink. So again, that goes down to, you're looking for a product that might say, oh, it's cruelty-free, yeah, sure, it might not be tested on animals, but if it's a red lipstick or a pink lipstick and it doesn't say vegan on there, it could have Carmine the beetle crushed up in there. So it's just something to be aware of. Most things that I buy, when I look on the label, I'll see there's a little bunny and it'll be in a circle, and that's Leaping Bunny. That means it's Leaping Bunny certified, which means that company has went in to this company and certified their product is not tested on animals. So that's one way to look for things. If you're trying to find makeup and any household product that is, and you're trying to be cruelty free, awesome. Like I say, go for it. Yeah, it sucks. It's a little more expensive. Believe me. I know. I've been doing this now I was vegetarian for 8 years. Then I went vegan about 4 years ago. So it's hard, reading labels, doing your research, going to pages and looking at the frequently asked questions and you might even have to email the company to ask. But it's something it gets frustrating sometimes and it might take a lot of work. But if you're really invested animals don't have a voice. They can't stand up for themselves. So sometimes it's disheartwarming, to, know that, yeah, sure, you're putting on this shampoo in your hair, but think while you're feeling I'm cleaning myself, an animal died for that. So I don't want to get all sappy and mushy gushy or whatever, but just try. And if you can even, like I said, it's expensive to buy cruelty free and vegan. I know, I live it every day, but if you can even take maybe 5-10 products in your house and switch it to cruelty free, think of all the animals you're saving. And again, girl, if that is shampoo if that's face wash for your face and they test it on a bunny, how do you know it's going to work on your face? You don't. So, and there are products
out there. Really fuzzy face.
Yeah, exactly. And there are products out there that I use that literally say on the label, we're not tested on animals, we're tested on humans. Because again, it's a product that's made for a human. So why can't we test on humans? Why do we have to test on animals? But that's
exactly.
Just
well said.
Yeah, so that's just a little insight on, trying to bring some light to, shopping for makeup products that are both vegan and cruelty free. They're out there. There's plenty of companies, and as years go by, a lot of companies want to, you want to sell the most and make the most. So the way you do that is by having your company appeal to everybody, all masses. So obviously, by having your company vegan and cruelty free, then everyone will buy it because, yeah.
And my husband's been trying to do keto for so long, and he worded it perfectly. It's really difficult to eat healthy because junk food is cheaper.
Exactly.
It's just putting in the extra work, putting in that extra bit of money, and it's worth it in the long run.
It's interesting that you bring that up too, because I did a couple classes a while ago at community college, and one of my classes was sociology. So we had to do, I guess, the final report. It was something about an issue that was big in the world and why it can't be solved. So mine was about obesity. Well, the reason it can't be solved is because you can drive to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger and fries for $2. That's just super high in fat and calories. It's going to clog your arteries. But yet, if I want to go to my local grocery store and just get lettuce and tomato and stuff to make a salad, there goes my whole paycheck.
Yeah.
So how do you expect Americans to be healthy and fight obesity if it's cheaper and easier for you to get a burger at a fast food joint than it is to buy a salad? And again, that all plays into, poverty and stuff like that. So
I made a vow, a big vow this year that I'm done with fast food. Only as a last resort. And yesterday I've been so stuck in this house that I was like, I want to go get a chicken sandwich somewhere. I got a chicken sandwich at a fast food place, and I was sick the rest of the day.
Ooh.
So I've just trained my body. I stopped drinking soda. I still will have one every once in a while. I'm weak. I fail, but I'm doing my best for my body and for, the world in general.
Yeah.
But Are you ready to bring everybody back?
Yes, I'm excited.
Alrighty, we're gonna bring everybody back now. Of course, we have Miss Jen Bazzle. I tried to add her. There it is.
Yes.
Miss Honey LaBronx and Lola Madison.
Hey.
Now, I would like to start. Jen, the floor is yours. Feel free to ask us anything.
Oh boy. Okay. So for each of you, what's the biggest reason that you started doing drag?
Let's start with Lola.
Why I started doing drag?
Yeah, what besides obviously loving it and more confidence and everything like that, what made you want to start doing it?
Actually, it was asked upon me. So long story short, I lived in Tampa and I was in working at a Latin club and I was singing live. I was singing Mexican music or Latin music and there was drag queens. And one of the drag queens was like, hey, do you want to do drag? And I'm like, that's too gay for me. A week later, I was in drag. And I guess the reason why I continued it was because it just felt so natural and it felt so good. I was like, wow, like, and it was so powerful, especially to the people watching. They're like, oh, snaps, like, you're pretty good. And it's just a feeling that it's just, I don't know, indescribable, I guess, but it helps you, it motivates you. Drag has done so much for me, so that's why I continue to do it, and that's why I kept doing it, so.
Love it.
Fabulous. Miss Honey.
I mean, aside from the obvious you said, there's a lot of reasons to want to be a drag queen. It's fun. You can make a good living. But I think the reason this is what I decided to stick with and go with for like a life path is because drag, I mean, yes, it gives me a platform. I could have built a platform without being a drag queen, right? Mm-hmm. But drag lets me say things I could not get away with out of drag. Drag lets me get away with approaching certain subjects, talking about certain things a certain way. I was hailing a cab once, and this young lady, I'm trying not to say girl unless I'm talking to like a fellow homosexual or like a young lady who's under the age of 15. So a young woman, which is what she was. I can't stand when they do this. I'll be out there for 15, 20 minutes with my arm up in the air, hailing a cab, and then some young lady just comes along, doesn't see me, and she's like, oh, and so I'm like, I was on this corner for 15 minutes. I saw him first. He's mine. And then I realized what I looked like. And I was on my way to a gig, and so I just told her, I'm like, all right, we're just sharing this cab then. And I get in a cab. First of all, if I had not been in drag, there's no way this young lady would have been like, yeah, sure, you can get in the car with me. And as long as we were in the car, I just decided the entire drive, I'm just going to talk about animal rights. Because naturally, she had questions for me as a drag queen. I'm like, well, I'm known as the vegan drag queen. And why the vegan drag queen? Well, because, you know, we kill 10 billion land animals per year in this country for food alone, blah, blah, blah. So, and people will just let me talk about this. I've talked about things that normally people wouldn't want to hear about, things that are controversial, but people will, there's 50 different ways to say I can talk about things I couldn't talk about if I was not in drag.
I love that. There is a phrase that is, the king will listen to the jester before he listens to the advisor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Preach.
very much that.
Preach. Very that.
Yep. Miss Skarlet, why did you start?
Okay, so mine's two reasons. The two main reasons. One is, well, growing up, I was very, I went to a very like redneck hick school, and I knew I was gay since I was like in elementary school, but coming out in a school where everyone's like rednecks and conservatives and stuff like that, that was a no. I mean, I could have, but I didn't want to be made fun of. So like, I knew I was gay, so I kind of like, until I graduated, that's when I graduated high school, and then I came out. But in high school, I just spent a lot of my time like secluded away from people because I didn't want to like get anxious and like blurt it out or something. So I took a lot of like art classes in high school, even photography, stuff like that. So I was in the arts in high school. And then after I graduated, I'm like, well, how can I continue to be an artsy kid, but like take it further and like expand on like my homosexuality and this and that. So I found drag, plus, you know, being secluded and like being quiet about who I was and hiding for so long, it kind of like hurt my self-esteem, really. So doing drag gave me my self-esteem back. Cause again, like both Lola and Honey said, like when you're in drag, you can do anything. Like it gives you powers that you never knew you had. Like you really come out of your shell and you just say what you want and do what you want. And you're like, hey, I'm a drag queen.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Amen to the gay man.
Ever since I was little, I grew up in but I always gravitated to strong female, right? Strong female characters from shows.
Mhm.
And like Gem and the Holograms. Like all of these shows had such cool, strong women. And I was like, I love that. And then as I became an actor, I would play the roles I was given, but every once in a while I was like, why can't I play her? She, you know, my bucket list characters as an actor, I want to play Frau Blucher in Young Frankenstein. I want to play Bertha from Pippin. And now
Which one's Bertha?
What was that?
Which one's Bertha in Pippin?
Pippin's grandmother.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's time to start living. Time to take. I have it all written down on my wall over there.
My dad is obsessed with that song. He's not a musical theater person, but he heard that song and kept playing it on a loop. And I'm like, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's such a good song, and it means so much to so many people. I also want to play any character in the musical Six. Six is incredible. I'm super addicted to it right now. But yeah, like that's just where I'm at.
Do we all have that in common? Would you say, I mean, here we are, we're 4 drag queens here, and one I now get what you mean by woo girl, and I love the idea of a woo girl.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a tangent, but
I
like,
understand that now. It makes sense.
yes,
Okay.
but like every now and then people will say things about like women coming to gay bars and too many women at a drag show, or women acting obnoxious at a drag show. I'm like, first of all, everyone acts obnoxious at a drag show. B, am I on one? And B, the reason you're noticing women being obnoxious at a drag show is because they are the majority of the audience usually at your drag show. So when someone gets too drunk, just by simple math, it'll probably be a woman because there's more of them. For everything people want to say about women in the world of drag, you're like 70% of my audience. So thank you for giving us an audience so that we can actually have careers doing what we love. That's one. But the thing I want to ask is, did we all have that thing growing up where we all identified with strong females? Like Annie in Annie, I thought of, I like wanted to be her. I wanted to be Punky Brewster. Like these are the characters I always resonated with growing up. Did every other queen have that as well?
Yeah, I definitely did. For me, it's gonna sound weird, but growing up, I used to spend a lot of time going over to my grandma's house because my parents' work schedules. And me and my grandma used to always watch 2 things we always watch together. Xena, the Warrior Princess. And fucking, my grandma loved it, and I still love it to this day. She's my fucking hero, Judge Judy. Fucking Judy. Yeah. So I wanted to be some weird princess warrior who also judged fucking people.
And now she is.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
How about you, Lola?
Since I was little, I always loved the female characters and all of the Disney movies. Disney was huge for me because I love to sing. And so, yeah, I love The Little Mermaid. I love every girl part. I would mimic the girl parts. And it's like now looking back at them, like it makes perfect sense. I mean, I mean, maybe too because of my mother. She has been such a huge influence. She raised me and my brothers. We're 7 boys all together. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, women figures in my life have been such a big part. You know, not only right in the house, but also on television. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that goes hand in hand with, you know, most drag queens are not trans women. You know, I'll speak for myself. I'm not a trans woman. I'm a man, but I think I'd make me less of a man. You know, if anything, being a drag queen has made me stronger.
More of a man.
Yeah.
That my internet got weird there for a second.
It did. You got cut off a little bit.
Yeah, my internet has been weird. It's been storming here all day, so yay.
Yeah, it's starting to storm a little bit here, so.
Ooh. Have some fun comments. Brendan says, hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hi, Brendan.
Sean Story says, everyone will listen to a pretty face.
Aww.
I mean, you're not wrong. Brendan does drag as well. He kind of stumbled into drag, LOL. It started like just a night out, and I ended up performing that night, and here I am 3 years later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yep.
It's the hi, you're in drag. One of us.
Yeah, literally.
What is the difference? Because there's those people who go out in drag and it doesn't like take. I don't know what to say, but like if you go out in drag and fill in the blank, that's how you know. I don't know what the blank is yet.
Yeah, exactly. We have a look at all you pretty people. That's our wonderful co-host, Miss Fancy Dismount.
Where? I don't see any.
Oh, I know. Listen.
I love that drag name so much. Fancy Dismount.
Oh, yes, that's Fancy Dismount. She always sticks the landing.
Oh, oh God.
And she got it because of a sex act. Totally selling out my sister. Yes, Punky Brewster. Mine was Rainbow Bright.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love Rainbow Bright too.
Right?
And Strawberry Shortcake. I wanted a Strawberry Shortcake doll as a kid, and mostly because I hope it's not problematic to say this. I'll use certain terms. I had, let's say, an abduction fantasy with the purple pie man from Strawberry Shortcake. I wanted him to crawl into my bedroom window and just take me somewhere. I mean, it could have been down the block, but I mean, in my mind, somewhere far away. And like, I felt this way when I was 3. That's wow. How you know. That's how you know.
Okay.
You're a little baby gay.
Like I have a thing for Italian men who can bake.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, well.
Who else we got? Hey, woo girl Jen.
So that's actually my boyfriend's mom. So
Hey, RJ's
Hi,
mom.
Mom.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom. We got Gretchen Wilson and Shania Twain.
yes, Shania Twain.
Fantastic. Sean Story said, Ariel, Little Mermaid, feeling like you don't belong and there's another world you want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Sean found out you don't belong to this one either. Like you're a one of a kind. You're a one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Like in a world full of Beyoncés, be Tina Belcher.
Exactly.
Yes.
Be the Michelle. Be the Michelle.
There's a fan account on Twitter. It's supposed to be Tina Belcher. And she had a tweet that just said, retweet if you're Beyonce. It had like 5,000 retweets. And I'm sure Beyonce was not one of them. Retweet if you're Beyonce.
All right. I love that. I follow a Facebook page that's Tina Belcher. Or no, it's Louise.
I love Louise.
Beautiful. It's just a whole bunch of shit posting, and I love everything about it. Let's see. Fancy Dismount telling the story of how she got her name. All I'm saying is poppers in a sling. She stuck the landing.
Okay.
there is no graceful way to get in or out of a sling. If you have any insecurity, it will be on display when you're getting into a sling. I've heard. Someone told me once.
Oh, allegedly.
Okay.
Oh, here's another good one. Clarissa Darling from Clarissa Explains It All.
Ooh.
That takes me back. So many strong women.
Yeah.
I could see that.
So, Jen, do you have any more questions for anyone? Or does anybody have any questions?
So I actually do have one directed mainly towards Lola and Honey, because obviously I know how our drag is here in Harrisburg, but what's the drag like in New York and Chicago? I've always been curious because they are bigger cities. They obviously have more drag queens compared to a more tinier city like us.
Mm-hmm. Lola, do you want to start that?
Sure. Chicago scene, I would say it's very, very diverse. You can go to Roscoe's, you can see the new up-and-coming queens. But then again, Roscoe's is very good of always booking the RuPaul queens. And then you have, your other venues that have, your local queens, your more seasoned queens. And then you have Berlin that has the androgyny and just like the crazy, oh my God, I love Berlin. Because it's not like pretty drag queen. Like, you have the bearded queens. You just have like the amazing, beautiful freak show at Berlin. And there's just so many different types of drag that you can just jump from club to club and see a whole different type of show. And so I would say it's definitely very, very diverse. You get all walks of drag there.
Now, I know here in Harrisburg, we have a bar called JB Love Drafts, and they do a show with a group of people called Fruit Boots. And it's completely different than typical drag. And I went to a show with my boyfriend to support one of our friends, and I had a blast because this was completely different drag. And I got to see a couple of drag kings, which I don't really get to see. And I love seeing drag kings because it's such a different type of drag compared to a drag queen. And I love supporting all types of drag. So I love seeing the diversity of drag, and it's amazing.
Yes.
So, honey, what's it like in New York?
Well, in New York, I should start by saying I'm not like a nightlife queen. I love going to bars and seeing drag shows. And, every Monday night I was there at Bob's show, whether it was a show she did with her comedy partner or a show she did on her own. And I guess before Bob did Drag Race, I probably saw a lot more of Bob's shows than actually going around and seeing a well-rounded representation of drag. But for the most part, the thing that I think sets New York drag apart from other places I've been is that if you are a drag queen in New York City, you are expected to be able to host the entire show alone on stage for 60 to 90 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, by yourself, and keep an audience's interest that entire time. Now, whether or not every drag queen can do that successfully in New York, that's, of course, debatable, but that is the job here. And some people do a mix of either comedy or lip syncing or dancing or live singing or, and different types of music, more musical theater or whatever. It is very varied. I would say New York City drag is very divided in that there is Manhattan drag, which is like your standard regular drag race drag. And then there's Brooklyn drag, which is like Thorgy Thor and Evie Oddly and Sasha Velour. Brooklyn drag is more like what Lola was describing at Berlin, where you'd see like the bearded, the experimental, the out there. And in fact, I kind of consider myself more that type of queen. I like to be a very out there I don't know what she's gonna do. Like we all watched a performance that I did before the show. YouTube, Honey LaBronx fruit salad,
Don't do it.
and
Not for the faint of heart.
or never
No.
YouTube that. But what I love about that number is I'm doing some whacked out performance art crap, and I'm doing it. I am an absolute lady about it. Like, I love that I look like a soccer mom, and yet you never really know what to expect out of me. So what I find
literally.
yeah. Oh God, I could have incorporated Gypsy, like what I've got inside of me. Ooh, and if I ever let it out, that would be a great number. But I tour for a living, so I've done drag in 73 other cities, and drag is very different everywhere else I go, especially outside of New York. Drag becomes a lot more communal. Like, this is who's hosting the show, and then here's the lineup, and here's the 5 or 12 or 20 drag queens who are going to be in the show. I've seen almost that much. Hi, Reykjavik, Iceland. And that's the thing about New York City. You are expected to be able to do everything alone on stage with no one else's help. And I thank God that that's sort of my training, because it's allowed me to tour the world just doing my own show without needing to have guests. And I will also say, in New York City, there is almost never a dressing room, almost never even an offstage space. If you're lucky, there might be like 2.5 feet behind a curtain where you can go and shimmy into an outfit. You're expected to get in drag at home and then take the train to the show. So when you do drag in New York City, even if no one shows up to your gig, exactly 1,000 people minimum are still going to see your drag and interact with you, and you're still going to give them life. When I did it, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin originally, and I did a show in Milwaukee.
Ooh.
This is way back in the day. There was a young drag queen backstage who was introducing herself to me, and her name was Trixie Mattel, and she was so cute. And she's like, "Do you get the drag name? It's kind of like a Barbie meets," and I'm like, "You are so sweet. Best of luck to you." But what was sad to me about the drag there is we all walked into the bar with a suitcase as a man. We all painted and turned into this gorgeous drag queen, or in my case, just a drag queen. And then we did our show, and then we take it all off, and then we go back out the way we came in. And there's never that moment where you're out in public, I mean, I love going out after Bob's show, me and Bob and 2 or 3 or 4 other queens taking over a diner until 4 or 5 in the morning. Like, oh, that's like one of my favorite things as a drag queen. And it's sad to me when I see other cities where that's either just not what happens, or it's not like possible because of where you are.
We used to do that a lot out here in Harrisburg, and we don't do it so much anymore because most of our clubs have closed. We really only have 3 gay clubs anymore, and they're right downtown, so there isn't really an accessible place right there to go and like go to a diner, grab some food. But I miss those late nights when you still got your face on and you're just grabbing some food because you're hungry and fat and you've been in a corset all night and just having a good time with your gal pals.
Yeah.
And I should say, by the way, when I tour, I don't necessarily perform just at gay venues. Any venue that makes their money off food and drink sales and is able to accommodate live performance, live music, I'll work with them. I mean, I've done my show in restaurants. I've done my show at like, you name it, kind of bars. Like I'm often performing in a bar that has never done drag before. And I should say, even if you don't necessarily have gay bars in your area that can host a drag show, reach out to any place that hosts live music and see if they'd be interested in hosting a drag show one day.
Yeah.
That's
completely. And those crowds are super appreciative. They're super fun. Jen, what were you saying?
like I love when you guys have shows and you come into Stallions afterwards and like get drinks and everyone's still in face, and I love it because like you get to see that aftermath of a show and like
devastation that it is.
Yes, I love hearing about your guys' shows if I can't make it to it, and if I end up making to it, I can be like, oh yeah, that part was amazing, I loved it, and that's just the one thing I love after a night of a show.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of shows and things that happen at shows all the time, if you folks out there have enjoyed this show this evening, feel free to contact these performers, follow them on social media.
Yeah.
Also, feel free to tip them. Skarlet Overkill can be found on Venmo and Cash App. Her information is down there below. We have Miss Honey LaBronx from New York. Her Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal are all listed below.
Oh, that's vegandragqueen.com/tip me.
Oh, vegan. Why did I write vegan?
Because the PayPal.me. That's what you're thinking.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm also a mind reader.
So now that we fixed it, there we go. Yeah. Follow her on vegan. I need a nap. I need a burger. vegandragqueen.com.
A vegan burger.
A vegan burger. Oh, I love vegan burgers.
That's what I'm making as soon as this is done.
Right?
Same.
Of course, we have the lovely Miss Lola Madison. If you'd like to tip her, her Venmo is right there. Of course, Miss Jen Bazzle has been here with us. I think I wrote this weird, but is it scrolling? It is. You can find her on Instagram at xgalaxymermaidx.
Yeah.
And of course, I am your hostess. My name is Jade DeVere. Did I not? There it is. Yay. My Venmo is at Jade DeVere, all one word, and that's DeVere with a big D and a big V.
Oh, big D.
Right? Now, thank you all for watching. Next week, we have another fantastic show planned. My co-host will be the lovely Miss Anastasia Diamond.
Yeah.
And my woo girl will be the lovely Miss Jasmine Leilani Kyle, who was on the ABC TV show, The Quest. We also have some fabulous queens joining us. We have Mona Lotz and Laura Lovelace, who together are known as Looks. They do drag jewelry auctions. I'm not wearing any of their stuff, so I'm like, drag jewelry. Nope. I want to thank you all for tuning. I want to thank all of you for joining me here this evening. The show was so much fun.
Yes.
I would love all of you back.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Oh, you bet. Well, kids, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for joining us here at Inside the Drag Closet with Jade and her fabulous team and special guests. See you next Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on WLFE-TV.com.